This is the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Flash 2. And for the first time in its 3-year history, this shoe now closely resembles its racing sibling. But do the changes actually mean anything? Or are they only skin deep? It's time to lace up the Wave Rebellion Flash 2 and take it for a ride. Yo, what's going on? My name is Kofuzi and I'm a non-elite runner who reviews running shoes here on YouTube. And today, I want to talk to you guys all about the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Flash 2. But before I give you my thoughts on this shoe, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that Mizuno sent to me for the purpose of review, so I didn't have to pay for these shoes. However, nobody's paying me to make this video or to include their shoe in this video, and nobody's going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. So with that disclosure out of the way, let's talk about the Wave Rebellion Flash 2, and let's start with the specs. This is a 35mm stack height shoe with a stated 1mm drop. So in theory, there's 34mm of stack height in this forefoot. And this stack height is comprised of 3 things. The top layer is Mizuno Energy Light Plus, which is the same foam that's found throughout the racing shoe. Here we're getting it in just the top layer. And it is an advanced foam that is comprised at least partially out of Pebax Renew, which is a renewable form of Pebax. On the bottom layer, we have regular Mizuno Energy, which is an EVA-based foam. And in between those 2 layers, there is a glass-infused fiber wave plate. It runs the entire length of the shoe and it has substantial wings on each side that are visible both on the lateral and on the medial sides of the shoe. Moving to the outsole, we can see a large channel cut through the center of the shoe, much like its racing sibling, and you get a nice clear view of that glass fiber infused wave plate. I'm told that it's not the same as fiberglass, but I'm not exactly sure how it's not the same. Also in this outsole, you're gonna see a generous amount of rubber coverage, something that is more suitable for a daily trainer compared to the G3 outsole that we see on the racing sibling. On the Wave Rebellion Flash 2, this outsole is definitely designed for a little bit more mileage and a little bit more wear and tear, which is consistent with the ultimate intent of the shoe. Moving to the upper, we have an engineered mesh, which is more durable and better suited for handling everyday training, but it is still a lightweight and comfortable upper. The tongue is nice and super thin. It's not gusseted, but it does have this triple loop system with the laces, so that way it stays in place. There is some banding on the inside of the shoe as well to help give it some structure. I think that they easily could have attached a gusset to the tongue here, but I'm guessing overall it helped keep weight down by removing the gusset. In the back of the shoe, we have a minimal and restrained amount of padding, which I definitely appreciate. And there is a moderate amount of structure in the back here, which is again something that I would expect both from a Mizuno shoe and a Mizuno shoe that's intended to handle a little bit more daily training miles versus say a racing product. Altogether, this shoe comes in at a stated weight of 8.6 ounces or 243 grams. Now that we've talked about what the shoe looks like on paper, let's talk about what it feels like when you're actually running with it on the roads. And I'll say that this is a really great daily trainer. The previous versions of the Wave Rebellion Flash I found to be very disappointing. They look great, they sounded exciting, but they never really delivered on an experience that I could get along with. The Wave Rebellion Flash 2 is something that I'm really enjoying, but I'm definitely enjoying it as a daily trainer, if not a recovery run shoe. I feel like the Energy Light Plus, that squishy racing layer on the top, compresses a really nice way and interacts then with the EVA layer underneath it to create a nice kind of crumple zone for your foot as it's hitting the ground and rolling through that foot strike into your next stride. And I'm finding that I'm enjoying it when I am running at easy paces where my foot strike isn't quite so much on the forefoot, but it's landing a little bit further back in the midfoot. And this shoe is designed to be for midfoot strikers. And so you're using the entire shoe from back to front as your foot rolls through that foot strike. But in addition to the really nice squish that I'm getting, that feels like it starts pretty much right at my heel, or right where the heel meets the base of the arch. As I'm going through, the shoe rebounds nicely, and I feel like I'm getting a nice motion and pop as my foot lifts off into that next stride. And I've been really enjoying this shoe from easy paces, my kind of daily training pace where I do the bulk of my miles. When I pick up the pace a little bit, I'm also enjoying the shoe, but also when I'm running recovery miles on it, like the day after a really big workout or a long run, I'm finding like being able to land right here, right where kind of the heel bevel meets the main portion of the shoe, landing right there feels really nice and comfortable and plush, and I'm really enjoying the way that the shoe rolls through, even on days where I need something that is more in the line of a recovery shoe. But the thing is, Mizuno lists this as part of their racing category of shoes. And for me, I just didn't really like this shoe when I tried to pick up the pace. So whether I'm running strides or running anything faster than, say, moderate efforts, I find that I'm kind of missing most of this shoe and landing really only in the way front of it. And in those situations, I feel like I'm not getting the benefit of the NRZ Light and the NRZ foam working together. And the overall experience feels kind of very flat and non-responsive. It just felt overall a little bit too firm, and I didn't feel like I was getting any bounce back from the shoe. So even though this shoe is intended to be a speedier shoe, it hasn't been that for me as a forefoot striker. But I do think that for those of you who I've spoken to about this shoe that mentioned that you are midfoot or heel strikers and have tried picking up the pace in this shoe, you are still getting the really nice benefit of that roll through, and that shoe does tend to work for you guys and you have been enjoying it. But I think for people like me or have foot strikes like me that are more in the forefoot range, I think that you're probably going to not enjoy this so much at its intended faster paces, but at easy paces or even slower than easy paces, I feel like that's where the shoe is really going to feel the most special and enjoyable. So while some of you are enjoying this as a true training companion to the Wave Rebellion Pro 2, for me, I'm using it as a daily trainer. Now let's get to the final portion of the video where we talk about some pairing options and some alternatives in the buying guide. So if you're gonna be using this shoe, and let's say you're using it as a daily trainer, like I would want to use this as a daily trainer, I think the two other shoes that you would really want to have in the rotation are a speedy day shoe and then a even speedier shoe for your race days. And I think first, for your speedier days, I think the Magic Speed 3 is going to work out really well. So if you're enjoying the shoe at easy days, but want something a little bit peppier for those workouts, I think the Magic Speed 3 with its FF Blast Plus and its carbon fiber plate are going to provide a low to the ground and fast option that's going to give you that pop that I feel like the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Flash 2 is missing. And then for the race day, I think the obvious choice is going to be the shoe that looks just like the Wave Rebellion Flash 2, and that's going to be the Wave Rebellion Pro 2. These shoes don't just look similar, I feel like they have a lot of mechanics in common as well. So for those of you who are enjoying what you're feeling in the Wave Rebellion Flash 2, I think you're really gonna enjoy racing in the Wave Rebellion Pro 2. And I think the inverse is also true. So for those of you who aren't loving what the Wave Rebellion Flash 2 offers, you probably aren't going to be picking the Wave Rebellion Pro 2 as your race day shoe of choice. I find that for me as a forefoot striker, I enjoy the updates to the Wave Rebellion Pro 2, but it's not my favorite because it's not designed for me, and that's totally okay. I do wish all the shoes were made for me, but they don't all have to be. And this one is definitely going to be an excellent choice for you midfoot strikers. Now let's talk about the buying guide and some alternatives. The Wave Rebellion Flash 2 is out now at $170, and I feel like for me, as someone who's going to use this shoe as a daily trainer / recovery run shoe, that price is way out of line, and I don't think it really makes a lot of sense. I think maybe if you are a midfoot striker who is enjoying the shoe at factor paces, then it might make a little bit more sense as that speedy option. But for me, using it as a daily trainer, I'm going to compare it to some other daily trainers that I think are trying to achieve similar things, and let's see what they cost. And the first alternative I'm going to suggest is the Hoka Mach X. I feel like it's trying to do a lot of similar things, and I feel like I'm experiencing it very similarly to the Wave Rebellion Flash 2. The Mach X has a racing foam up top with an EVA foam on the bottom, and a semi-rigid element sandwiched in between those two layers. Some of you guys really like this shoe for running fast, but it's a shoe that doesn't really agree with me all the time, and I'm starting to think that maybe it's perhaps because it's designed for a midfoot striker rather than a forefoot striker that I am. And the Mach X comes in at $180, so it's actually $10 more expensive than the Wave Rebellion Flash 2. And then the other shoe that I think is worth talking about here is the Boston 12. Again, it's a shoe that has some racing foam, some EVA, and then a semi-rigid element that's helping keep everything from getting too squishy. This is another shoe that some of you really enjoy for running fast, but for me, I think it's just hitting me wrong. It's a shoe that I like as an easy day shoe, but not as a fast day shoe like the Boston should be. And so I haven't loved it, and like with the Mach X, and with the Wave Rebellion Flash 2, I'm starting to think that the reason I like it how I do maybe because of how my foot is hitting the ground in it. And the Boston 12 retails now for $160. It has been out for a while now, so you might be able to find it on discounts, but the Boston Marathon is also right around the corner, so I wouldn't expect any big discounts anytime soon. So it looks like that $170 price isn't a terrible idea from Mizuno, but I really feel like for it to be worth that for you, you've got to be more of a midfoot striker who can fully take advantage of what this shoe has to offer. So those are my thoughts on the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Flash 2. Let me know if you have any other questions in the comments, or better yet, stop by the live stream I do Monday through Friday over on the Kofuzi Run Club channel. I'd love to talk to you guys over there in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?